But if you're able to put away $1,000 a month, that doesn't seem very practical for a small family. Let's try again. Hi guys, it's Vanessa from Wander Onwards, and welcome to my very first episode of Pink Money. Now, just as corporations rebrand mundane and ordinary objects into pink, female-friendly alternatives, I've created a whole series with the word pink and a pink border so women know it's for them. Can you hear the sarcasm in my voice? So in this episode, we're going to be talking about an emergency fund and what that actually is. So with coronavirus on the horizon, nowhere has it been more obvious that you should have had an emergency fund yesterday than it is right now. I actually started the journey because I had to dig myself out of $10,000 worth of credit card debt that I totally brought on to myself. But you know what? Coming face to face with my own failures really allowed me to be more kind to myself and more flexible with what I was trying to accomplish. This is my opportunity to really make financial information accessible, and I'm hoping that my little jokes and weird humor will make you less afraid of this topic. So let's begin. So for this episode, we're going to be talking about an emergency fund. Now, what's an emergency fund? It's kind of what it sounds like. It's a dedicated pot of money that is specifically to bail you out. Now, the reason we have an emergency fund is because we need liquid cash to take care of unexpected emergencies, such as a car breaking down, a home appliance breaking down, maybe someone gets into a little bit of financial trouble and you need to bail them out. Really, the way people start to snowball into debt is they can't cover these basic emergency costs because they just haven't set the money aside. This way, you have a pot of money that is specifically dedicated to bailing you out, and you don't ever have to worry about it. A great place to start with your emergency fund is $1,000. It doesn't seem like $1,000 is really enough for a financial emergency, but we all have to start somewhere. And if you start with $1,000, that can easily cover a broken home appliance, maybe a quick car repair, and everyone needs to start somewhere. Now, an emergency fund should be a special, fenced-off pot of money that you cannot touch. It does not count if you have a friend that owes you $1,000 and you know that she's good for it whenevs. Now, so it needs to be liquid, it needs to be easily accessible, and you need to have it today. Credit cards do not count as an emergency fund. Now, because there's an added interest applied when you don't pay off your bill on time. If you can't afford a $1,000 emergency fund, you can't afford to have a credit card bail you out, because that's essentially the same thing. If you put the $1,000 on the credit card that you already don't have, they're going to be able to charge you 20, 30, 40, 50% interest on that amount of money, and then that's where people start to get in trouble. So it's my recommendation that you have 3 to 6 months in fixed expenses in your emergency fund. But what's a fixed expense? So a fixed expense is anything that you're legally required to pay and regularly comes as a normal flat expense every month. So this would be rent, utilities, a car bill, a phone, any sort of transportation. It's stuff that you know is coming down the pipeline. Things that are not fixed or fluctuate would be more like things that don't normally always come up, but sometimes do. Don't really worry about that one right now. Instead, calculate your fixed expenses first. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit that like button and definitely subscribe. So let's put some real numbers behind this analogy. If Vanessa has the fixed expenses of £700 for rent, £150 for transportation, the tube, Uber, blah, blah, £50 for her phone, and then another £100 in utilities. That means her fixed expenses are £1,000. Now add on her food budget of £500, which is totally reasonable for a growing girl. Then her fixed expenses for the month tend to be £1,500. So If my monthly fixed expenses are $1,500 per month, then if I want 3 to 6 months of fixed expenses in saving, then I need 9,000 pounds. This might seem like a lot when you first look at it, but if you gradually work towards that goal, you actually reach it in quite a comfortable amount of time. If you're just starting your financial journey, focus on starting your emergency fund with 1,000 pounds or $1,000, wherever you are in the world. Do it 1,000 times. Now, this is going to create at least a basic buffer, but as we know from Corona, 1,000 pounds just really isn't enough. If you're laid off, 1,000 pounds is really not going to get you anywhere. So try to focus on building that 3 to 6 month fixed expenses portfolio. It's going to make all the difference. And also, if you unfortunately start to experience financial hardship, you're going to have 3 to 6 months to figure your shit out. And honestly, if you're not rushed to take just any job, you're gonna put yourself in a much better financial situation and you're gonna have more options at your disposal. If you're lower income and you're struggling to pull together $1,000 for your emergency fund, take it step by step. Maybe you can prioritize $100 this month and a little bit more the next. If you just focus on prioritizing $100 a month, then in 10 months, you're gonna have your fully funded emergency fund. And you're gonna be so proud. Thanks so much for watching this episode. I really appreciate your support on my channel. I really hope you find whatever you're looking for. Thanks for watching. If you liked that video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to get notified about new videos every week.